I'm John Bouffard, Laneview Farms. We're a family-run operation and we got some hired staff. We started feeding cattle in 1989 as a kid, and then in 06 we built a new feedlot. We got into the cows, I think, in about 2010, and then we just kept growing from there. We're at just under 4,000 calves on the backgrounding lot and 400 cows. The kids are greatly involved in the cow-calf feedlot and the grain side. We got 5 kids, the 3 oldest ones are back home already, and the 2 youngest ones are in high school, one in grade 12 and one in grade 10, and their plans is to probably come back too. I graduated in '87. I'd go work out in the wintertime in the oil patch or pipeline. I got it was okay, but I wanted to be home, and I always liked feeding calves. And then we started feeding calves in '89. We started with, I think the first year in '89 was 250 calves, and then we went to 500 calves. And I stayed at 500 to 600 head there till 2006, I guess. I was working on wages then, a local farmer here, and I'd just do my chores in the morning and go to work after chores. But I knew within 5 years of feeding calves, I wanted to get to a spot big enough where I could have cement bunks and a feed wagon and feed along the bunks and stuff like that. The first ones we did was working good too, but I just wanted to get to that level. And then the cow-calf thing started when my oldest boy got older, and he always liked cows. So we had some grassland that wasn't getting used, so we put fence around it and we started buying cows, and we started, I think, with 20 that one year, and then we just kept climbing up from there. It seemed like every time we did things on this place or expanded, it was after bad years. And we started the feedlot after BSE. Everybody was down on the cattle side. We've always bought land after a drought or a disaster, whatever it is. And it's just like at the cow-calf side things, we got into it, like we were buying bred heifers for $1,200, and everybody was getting out after BSE there, and just we thought, well, it's time to get in. It's cheap. And we went into the game when we first started, we had nothing to lose. We put it all on the line and just went at it. And I agree, nowadays the next generation don't have that same opportunity because it takes so many dollars to do it. And all of a sudden, I find the desire for agriculture's changed. Like back then, there wasn't as much competition. Now everybody wants in the game. The cow-calf and the feedlot work together good. We retain all our own calves in the fall when we wean, and we sell them when we get them to 1,000 pounds. We're hitting a different market, and it spreads out our risk. When we got the calves on feed, we can decide when we want to pull the trigger or sell them. We're not committing to one sale day or whatever it is. The workload sometimes is a little heavier when you got both operations running in the wintertime, because calving season is hectic and you got still the feedlot to worry about feeding. So we got to make sure we got the right staff in place for that. I think the biggest key is that we start calving in February to try and beat the slop, and then try and get that done before the workload of the grain side of the farm takes place. Cows are about 3 miles away from here when we calve out a different little yard site there, so we can still run feed back and forth fairly easy. We built a little bunkhouse there for the guys to stay there when they're calving. The biggest advantage for us, our cow herd, is we're using up our marginal grass. We got lots of land. Sometimes you got a quarter section of grass or a half section of pasture there. We've taken the time to fence all them patches and develop water on them, and then we're using them up. It fits in the program. We got enough feed put up. We do a lot of winter grazing. We did corn for a long time. We got some land, a big slough that was abandoned for 10 years. We started growing corn in it and grazing the cows on it. And now that chunk of slough it's not abandoned anymore. We're using it all the time. And I thank the cattle because of the corn grazing, the manure that's put on the land. On our poor land where we spread manure, we're on a 4-year rotation on spreading. We've seen that land improved. Our fertilizer rates have really dropped because we're not putting as much fertilizer on that land. And our far away stuff we stockpile for a season with the end dumps, and then we go back and spread later. For a lot of years, we never looked at manure as an asset. But now, after doing it and seeing it, it's a huge asset for us. With the feedlot, I've always fed calves. When we start bringing the cows into the business, you start weaning your own calves, you really find out fast what genetics works and which ones don't. Well, this calf didn't perform very good 200 days into the feedlot. Well, keep track of which cow that come from, then you can improve your genetics. Well, we started with our first lot in '89. We built 3 pens, I guess. We were feeding 500 calves. And we had a pen dedicated for grain pen. Every morning we put our pellets out and we could bring the calves in to feed them. That worked really good till we decided to expand in '06. So we started it in '06 with 2,500 head, that new expansion. And we visited a lot of feedlots, different places, I guess, for that one summer. JGL Livestock, I do a lot of business with them. They kind of guided me in the right areas to go see different people, the different lots. And then we just kind of went to paper and pen and started drawing things on paper. I'd been planning for the feedlot probably 3 or 4 years before I pulled the trigger, and talked to a lot of guys, see what would they do different. All the legwork's done. The lagoon's already built for the expansion when we built the original feedlot, so everything is ready to go. The infrastructure is done. We got underground water lines already in place when we built the original lot. All we gotta do is hook onto the existing water lines.
Yeah, this is our main water supply room for the feedlot. Our main line from the reservoir feeds all the pens. We got 2 wells that feed the feedlot. They're down in the Judith River. They're 1,200 feet down.
We got, I guess, different feed alleys. We got what we call our A alley, our B alley, C, D alley, and E alley. Our A alley is small. It's only got 2 pens. They're 150 head pens, or small pens for our odds and ends, I guess. We got a couple 300 head pens, and then most of our other pens are 250 heads. And then we got 2 big pens. They hold 500 head each, and we really like those. Just got a 10-foot pad behind our cement bunks. It's worked good for us. The new pens we've been adding on, we're going to energy-free bowls. We're using the heat from the ground, so we got no power to them bowls or no elements, which is really nice. No troubles in the wintertime. And like even a morning like this, 29 below zero, they're not froze. We got a 30-inch culvert that goes down 9 feet in the ground and a little bit into the ground, and all that heat from there keeps that water warm. We're using that in our winter feeding sites in the cows also. We got insulated troughs, and we have no power at our winter sites. We're using a solar system for our pumps for water. The solar system, we're on year 5 or 6. And these new pens that we built, they're 5 years old with these energy-free bowls. Our pens are kind of all in straight lines, so it makes it easier for feeding with the wagon and the truck. And our barn's kind of not quite in the middle of the lot, but on the outside edge of it. And all our pens lead back to the barn with cowboy alleys for the running cattle up and down. We've listened to a lot of our pen riders over the years, what they would like to see, what makes their life easier, and we've kind of integrated it over the years. Because I don't ride a horse, and I never did have a horse as a kid, so I mean, we have to rely on outside help for that. We got a little bit of a sorting area in the far pens when the cowboys want to sort calves off before they bring them to the barn or back home or whatever. All our gates are designed for the cowboys. They can open all the gates from the top of their horse. They don't never have to get off their horse. So we got cowboy latches on all of them. We got a couple of pen riders that are outside from the family, and I still do the feedings in the morning. I think that's the best way to check pens. You can see which calves come to the bunk and which ones don't. You can see how the calves are doing, and I've actually some of my boys that are feeding now too have kind of caught on that too. Our pen riders are fairly aggressive. We're busy from induction time till Christmas. We ride pens all day, all morning, and then we go back after lunch and ride again, because till the calves settle in. And then at this time of year, they just ride the pens once a day. We bought Stampede Steel line and tub. We bought our first hydraulic squeeze chute from the Turin colony in Alberta, where they build hydraulic squeeze. We updated our squeeze here a few years ago with them again. We use the same one. We wouldn't mind not doing some updates in the barn here maybe this coming year, make life a little easier in the processing side of things. We just got a small roller mill for setup right now. We got an electric one that's stationary, and then we also got a PTO one that we roll extra grain with. Our plans in the future is probably to put up a commodity shed, a 2 or 3 stall commodity shed, have DDGs in there and maybe pre-roll a bunch of product. Our biggest drawback here is we don't have 3-phase power. So if you improve the mill lots, everybody wants you to go 3-phase this or that, so we don't have that. We'd have to put an inverter in or something, but that's why if we go to a commodity shed, maybe we can bypass the 3-phase thing. We grew into full ownership over the years. The first 3 years we custom fed half the lot, 12 or 1,500 head. We custom fed for a guy down east and out of Quebec, and we had a great relationship. And then as things progressed and CCBC came alive with Farm Credit, and JGL is mandating that program, we kind of got bigger and owning our own cattle, and now we just kind of keep owning everything. We're risk takers, and we kind of like owning our own inventory. The big advantage over the custom feeding thing is generates cash flow every month. That was our biggest thing for our startup over the first few years. And I think the custom feeding side has changed a little bit. Like these price of cattle has really escalated. And for some people, that's worrisome if they're not in the game every day. So, I mean, you don't have to worry about it now. We just do our own thing. And if you own the inventory, you can control the sell time, the marketing time, and you can control the cattle you're putting in, what quality cattle you're putting in. Basically, we feed all steers. We got 1 pen of heifers for replacement heifers for our cow herd, but the rest of it is all steers. And we buy the top cut steers, usually the top 2 grades of steers in the fall. We're buying a lot of calves direct from ranches now, because you're buying healthy calves. And then the biggest thing is they're not going through the auction ring, less balling, less sickness. They're not stressed as so bad. They get on feed better. Creates a little bit more work when you buy direct to the ranch because you got to sort. Because of the calf variants, you got these pre-sorts already done for you. So we do that here. And that's the other thing we do when we buy calves there now. We got a scale on our hydraulic squeeze. We sort our calves in 50-pound increments. Whether it's our own calves or somebody else's calves, they get the same treatment. So we know the whole lot's treated the same way. And then when we got time to sell or market, we usually do one sort off the top end, and then after that we don't have to sort no more. They're pretty tight. The biggest thing too the feedlot has done with us, and our nutritionists kind of helped us out through that over the years, every penny's accounted for in the feedlot. Like, you know, we worry about every pound of feed, every pound of barley, supplement. We watch everything to the T, and that taught me, oh, how come we're not doing that on the grain side? How come we're not doing that on the cattle side, on the cow-calf side? So now, you know, we got computer programs for our feeding and all the equipment. And we even keep track on our cow herd side, so we know exactly, depending what we're spending on those cows every day in the wintertime. You know, now we're trying to get the next generation to do this more on the grain side. And the other thing we like about the feedlot, it keeps our staff occupied all winter. Equipment sharing on the farm, we're sharing equipment from the grain side to the feedlot side. So that's huge. The biggest challenge now compared to 10 years ago, the numbers are big. It doesn't matter if you expand on your land base or expand on the cow herd. I'm pretty sure you guys are aware what the bred cow market's doing. You know, they're big numbers. You know, the feedlot too, I remember when the first year I started feeding in '89, I was paying $450 for a calf. And now the same calf's gonna bring $2,600, $2,700. So the cash flow is huge. So I mean, I think it goes back to your partners. Your financial partners are a big player now, and they have to be up to speed. And I think it's going to make the next generation, if they want to be part of this business, they're going to have to be real good managers, because the banker's going to want to see some hardcore numbers on paper before they get involved. The next generation on this place, I think the biggest advantage they have, we built a base. You know, and the base doesn't just involve the pens or the cattle. I call it a base of everything: cattle, pens, contacts, your business partners. You know, they're very important. And, you know, if we're still in the picture and the next generation's rolling into, those partners are still there because we're rolling into the next generation of partners also. When I was growing up, I was watching our folks farm, and things have changed. Like, the only time you ever seen your banker is if you needed to borrow something for a big purchase. You know, like our banking partners, like, you know, we use Farm Credit, we use Royal Bank, JGL. They look at the next generation coming in the picture. Like, there could be another 30 years of lending there. And, you know, the transition from the next generation to the young generation is a big thing too, but I guess everybody's definition of transition is different. Like for ourselves, I don't see ourselves really leaving the business. I want to work with the kids. I want to work with the grandkids if they come along. It's kind of weird because for us, it kind of all fell into place. You know, like I'll use Robin Gilroy and Bill Jameson at JGL Livestock. When we started feeding cattle, they're the biggest promoters for me when I built my new feedlot. They wanted us to do it because they seen a future in it, and I give them credit. They were very positive with us, and that partnership's grown. I've been dealing with them 35 years, and they were big promoters of ag, and they still are, and they're still promoting it to our kids. And, you know, we're promoting it to our kids. We got a nutritionist on staff. He's been with me since 2006, the same guy. First year we opened the new feedlot, he started coming and he's still here. You know, he's out of the States, he makes his loop, he's here once a month, once every 6 weeks. You know, you think back about that, that's 20 some years of partnership with one nutritionist. When he started with me, my kids were this big, and now he's starting to drive around the pens with my oldest kids. So he's seen the growth. You know, I think that's pretty neat. Those partnerships, if you on the same page, you can make big leaps and bounds. And I feel, not just this farm, but I feel for a lot of farms that the next generation, it's tough. Our generation built up the operations. We grew into the stress. We grew into the high tense level. These kids, they're thrown right into the frying pan when they get going. Like, there's no growing into it, you know? And it's not right saying now growing into it. They can grow it again, but they're starting it here. We started here, worked our way there. They're here already. You know, it's a big challenge for them, and you really got to be committed. You got to learn things on your own, and I'm there to help. I'm not just going to leave them abandoned, but I mean, you got to let them figure things out for themselves. And now they're at the age I can kind of just step back and say, well, you know, like when we integrated the feeding program with the computer and the iPads, I got the thing initiated, but I let them set it all up. They feel part of the operation if you let them do their own thing. If you're going to have to be there to shadow them every day and babysit them every day, that's not good, I don't think. You know, it doesn't happen overnight. And I try to tell my kids that, like, this is a lifetime of results. It doesn't happen in 1 year, 5 years. You won't see big results for maybe 10 years or 20 years. And it's like that in any business. I'm not just saying that in farming. If you open a restaurant, you're not going to see results the first year. If you like it, there's a future. For me, the best decision was we went ahead with the feedlot. We got great partners in the business. I'm glad that's worked out really good for us. The only thing I would probably do different is I wouldn't have waited so long.